Hey, good morning. Welcome to Questions Just Asked. I'm John Ring, Chaplain John Ring, actually. And I'm with Hope for the Community, and I've been broadcasting this for over a year now. I think we might be into year two. It started as a summer way to stay connected to those who were in the Wednesday Bible study, because we take the summers off for the Bible study. And it's developed into this regular broadcast. I hope you're enjoying it. These are quite, you don't necessarily have to agree with my answer. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just answering the questions how I see it. Sometimes it's not the same way that you might see it. But just have an open heart and practice great grace. Hey, here we are today with a question. I like this question. I like simple questions. This is a simple question. What do you think is the coolest story in the Bible? Oh, I have a lot of favorite Bible stories. It's hard for me to choose one, so I'm going to talk about three. The first one comes from the Old Testament. And maybe it's because I started out my life, I really love my father-in-law who was in construction. And I know how long it takes to build something, especially if you live here in the low country. I think it takes a little longer to build something than anywhere else in the world. So Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem is a very special story for me. Why? First of all, Nehemiah was not born in Jerusalem. He didn't go back because he said, I got to go back and rebuild those walls the way we used to have them. He didn't even know what he was up against. He just knew the walls were broken down. Second of all, he rebuilt the walls in record time. There was a study done that we can't do it with all our modern machinery as fast as Nehemiah did it. Amazing. The next thing is he did not have the best of teams. Only about 25% of all Israelites returned from Babylon. He only had 25% of the people. He had unskilled labor and people who had heart more than skill. And yet he still did it. He was under attack from those who did not want to see the walls built, but he made a plan to protect them while they were building. That makes me say this. Nehemiah was smart. And he used his smarts to make sure the walls were rebuilt. And then last of all, Nehemiah. He honored the Lord with his words, his actions, and he even honored the Lord with his success. This wasn't about Nehemiah. This was about Nehemiah bringing glory to his Lord. So Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem is one of my favorite stories from the Bible. My next favorite one comes from the New Testament, Luke 15. It's actually a parable, three parables that Jesus gives. First one's about a lost lamb that Jesus goes and finds and brings back. The next one is about a lost coin in Luke 15 that gets lost. And now he says how the widow sweeps the house clean until she finds the house and brings it back to the other coins. And then the last one is the lost son. You probably know that one as the prodigal son story or the prodigal God story. Son gets rebellious, insists he has to have his inheritance. He takes off. He squanders it all. He's half starving to death. He says, I'm going to go back and be my father's servant. He has it better off than I do. But his father would have nothing to do with it. As soon as he sees his son, he runs, he greets him, he hugs him. He puts the family ring on his finger. He puts the family cloak on him. He restores him to being a family member. Three of my favorite stories. And there's a theme behind those three stories. And here's the theme. That which has been lost has been found. Oh, it hits my heart. It brings me to tears because I was lost and the Lord found me. And those three stories, why does the lamb get lost? He just got his head down trying to eat. How does a coin get lost? It just falls out of the pocket. It just falls. Table gets bumped. It falls off. It just happens. And then there's the rebellious sons. All three. Jesus is redeeming. And that's pictures of you and me. And that's why it's one of my favorite stories. Then my third most favorite story, which I won't talk much about, is Daniel. Daniel from the Old Testament. Daniel who purposed in his heart not to defile himself with the king's meat. Went on to survive the lion's den. And again, the story of Daniel is not about Daniel. It's about how God looked out for Daniel. And Daniel's faithfulness to the Lord. How that interaction happened. So that's why Daniel is also one of my favorite stories. So those, I think, are the coolest stories in the Bible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that's part of the Daniel story, being able to survive the fiery furnace that killed those who were throwing them into the fire. That's pretty cool if you ask me. Actually, it's pretty hot. Bad humor. I know, I have bad humor. Anyways, these are my three favorite sections of the Bible. I could read them over and over again. Hey, but you pick out your coolest story. Let it be yours. Those were mine. Hey, thanks. Oh, somebody said, hey, which one is your absolute favorite? I got to be honest with you. Luke 15, the parable of the lamb, the sheep, and the son is my absolute favorite story in the Bible. Hey, have a great week. Come back next week, and we'll hit our fourth question next week, which is, what is the main message from the Bible? Woo! That's another good question. See you next week.